Welcome back to Real Ag Radio here on Rural Radio, Channel 147, Sirius XM. It is Thursday, February 5th, if you can believe it, everybody. And of course, this is the Rapid Fire brought to you by Corteva. We're going to hop now to near Yorkton, Saskatchewan. I've got Trevor Herzog on the line. Trevor, how are you?
I am doing really well today. Thanks for asking.
Okay. And tell us about your role with Corteva. What is your title? What do you do in a day?
So my role with Corteva is Agronomy Team Lead for the Pioneer seed business, which would encompass all corn, canola, and soybean crops, and any future crops that we have in our pipeline for development. And on my team, I have 9 agronomists across Western Canada, and we focus on helping our customers, just achieve the best crop they possibly can, whether it's through our own seed branded products or any other things that are going on in our farm that we can help out with. And our main goal is just to try to help those farmers be as profitable as they possibly can and sort of achieve the better than average crop production experience that they can get on their farm.
We now this is this is planting season for sure. A lot of things are locked in, but even as we heard today from our farmers, there's plenty still to be decided as far as maybe those last acres of which crop is going to go where. There's certainly a lot of questions about crop protection products and what the plan is going to be. What are you hearing from your team? What are the key the critical conversations that are happening right now with clients and in this planning process?
Yeah, we the conversations we run into this time of year, typically a lot of the seed companies out there have seed purchase deadlines that happen sometime before Christmas. So there's always a lot of seed purchasing that happens that time of year. And then everybody sort of takes a breath. And then it's reassess time as soon as the calendar flips over to the new year. And what we find is customers start really thinking about, I have most of my cropping plans figured out, but now I'm really digging into some of my crop rotation considerations. Some of my factors that come with that would be disease related or harvest management related, weed resistance related. And they would reach out to our Pioneer agency team or indirectly maybe through our agronomy team to just sort of take it down one level and figure out what should we really be focusing on here as we finalize our cropping plans for the season. And that's opening up a big can of worms. So then it's just going into a needs and discovery type question to find out what's really top of mind for that customer. And then we would have those one-on-one discussions to really sort of dive down into it, let's say.
And the answer to that question is different potentially for every farm as far as what their particular pinch point or challenge might be. If we focus maybe more on the canola acre, certainly there are questions about, do you prioritize disease management? Do you prioritize harvest management? Do you prioritize, weed management? Obviously, you've got to incorporate parts of all of that, but I do want to touch on just briefly some of the challenges definitely that we are hearing about. Are disease related, particularly with verticillium. Did want to touch on that. What are you hearing from your team, and what advice would you have for growers who maybe this is a new disease that they're hearing about?
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. When I was walking a lot of fields 4 or 5 years ago in southeastern Saskatchewan, I found the disease and I didn't know it.
Mm.
And the point is that if you're looking for the new disease that we're all thinking about in canola these days, it is verticillium stripe or verticillium, well, you probably can find it. So now what? What do we do? And right now it's such a new disease to farmers and industry alike in Western Canada that we have lots of questions and we don't have all the answers quite yet. We know, for example, that seeding date, the timing of rainfall in June, timing of harvest in the fall, and other maybe harvest management considerations, cropping history, for example. There's other factors that I haven't talked about that also come into play that we probably haven't even uncovered yet. So it's a real challenge from an agronomy perspective to say to a grower, here's what you need to do to help address the verticillium challenge in front of you either today or in the future. We do know that one thing that we've we've been kind of saying for years, and farmers understand it, is crop rotation is a major factor. And let's really dive into, what that crop rotation looks like for each customer. Are there some spots where we can maybe wiggle things around just a little bit to create a little bit more of a break on some of those fields? And, you also have hybrid choice, obviously, and the canola breeding program here at Corteva and Pioneer has a really strong focus on verticillium protection within the plant. And, we understand how our hybrids perform in that regard. That's just one of the diseases we think about. It also seems like blackleg is becoming more of a challenge, and there is an interaction we see with blackleg and verticillium together when they're found in the field, which can be a little bit confusing sometimes if we're not super familiar with how both of those diseases present themselves. And again, there's more learning to do there about the interaction of those two diseases together. From a disease perspective, the Pioneer breeding program has been a leader in that part of the world. We have really strong clubber genetics. We have adult and seedling protection in blackleg. We have hybrids with sclerotinia protection, and we have a really good understanding of how we perform on verticillium, which is that new disease that we're all still scratching our heads on just a little bit. So, that's a major consideration to try to think through, and we try to be there to help them through that. The end goal that every customer has is I want to produce more on every acre that I have, and we try to help our customers be better than average, because in many cases, being the average crop producer is not really paying enough of the bills. And we try to be there for them to help answer fertility questions, weed resistance questions, which herbicide traits should I consider? How do I use them most effectively? In harvest management, we have lots of pod shatter protected hybrids on the marketplace now. What we're finding is that doesn't necessarily mean that every acre should be straight cut. Right. There are lots of things to consider in that particular topic around manpower and how soon can I get my grain in the bin, equipment, the costs, all that stuff comes into play. But for example, our team will this year be doing some field scale trials on trying to determine harvest management effect on disease pressure, for example, verticillium. And timing of getting that grain into the bin. Swathing could be sooner into the bin than straight cutting is into the bin. And so it all comes down to getting dollars in the bin, which is dollars in your pocket. And all those things kind of fold into each other. And we try to walk through those decisions with our customers.
Okay, so sounds like some exciting stuff to look into this year, and I'm sure we'll hear all about it once those trials are done and and I mean, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's sort of more questions than answers on the verticillium piece, but certainly it plays into sort of these overarching questions about what decisions can be made here, just ahead, of course, of those seeders rolling. So, Trevor, thank you so much for joining me here on Blackleg Radio. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, and be happy to do this again. Look forward to it.